it's like a broken record, same old songs of accusation play. Like who are you to speak the truth? Just look at all your failures and mistakes. And if they really knew you, there's no way they could love you anyway. Oh, but I will fight the lies with the truth.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Send Help Podcast, a podcast and a lifeline for moms who are stuck in the trenches of mommyhood, bringing them encouragement through Jesus, laughter, and sisterhood.
Sisterhood!
What?
That's what I'm talking about. You guys, we have the most special guest.
The mostest.
The mostest.
It's not the hostess with the mostest.
No,
it's the guestest.
It's the guestest. The
Mostest.
mostest. Say hi, special guest.
She can't now.
Hi. You
Good
guys.
evening.
Oh my goodness. Well, you know because you have the click on. You've clicked on something to listen to this, so you know that Tasha is our special guest.
It's me. I'm so excited. I have no clue what I'm doing, guys, but I am so excited to be here. Let's do this.
We have no clue what we're doing either.
Never.
Y'all totally make it look like you're pros up in here. Like
No.
we got ring lights and microphones, headphones, a soundboard. Like,
I know.
What?
I know.
Big
It's
time,
amazing.
baby. Big time.
Our husbands are really nice to us.
Yeah, they
They
are.
are.
And
You
they
should
know
keep
what all
them.
of this
You
is.
should keep them.
We should keep them.
You should.
We could not do any of this without Tim. Does
tried.
Tim does this side, and then Dusty does like marketing. He signs us up for all of the platforms, and yeah, and then sweet man like reposts and reposts and reposts, and then goes to all the different platforms and posts. It's insane.
Yes.
They're amazing.
I don't even know what's happening.
I know. I'm like, wow. He talked to KLTY about us. What?
Right?
Sweet.
He tagged who in a post?
Yeah, I mean, we're like, oh, I never thought about that. That's
Right.
a good idea. Anyway.
The magic behind Send Help Podcast.
Yes. The men behind the
The
women.
magic men behind.
The magic men. Magic Tim.
Now I have all these things going through my mind.
Poor Tim. Poor Dusty.
Totally gonna cut that out.
I know. He's not even going to let us keep it, man.
No, but for Halloween, I'm getting them both black leather pants and a tie.
Boom.
Sweet. And we'll be the Golden Girls.
Yes.
So much fun.
Oh, yes. That would
Squad
be
goals.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had this shirt before
No,
anybody else
No,
had
now
it.
I really am going to make them shirts that say squad goals.
The Magic Men of Send Help
Yes.
Podcast. Squad goals.
Squad goals.
Oh my gosh.
And you guys will never hear any of this because
I
Tim's
know.
going to cut it all out.
Unless
He's
he
going to have to
doesn't,
send it to Dusty
which
or
would be
somehow.
And then we're in
Amazing.
trouble.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I'm putting some anointing oil on because we are
Oh,
going to get
Jesus.
into this.
Yeah, I might need some
You
of this.
guys, let me just say this about my friend Tasha.
Just say it.
She, like when I read Hebrews 11, that is the Faith Hall of Fame chapter, right? I think it is.
I think it is
We
because
probably
when
should
you
have done a
said it,
reference
that's
check
what I
on scripture
thought.
before we started this podcast.
I'm pretty sure it's Hebrews 11. Anyways, it goes through the it's the Faith Hall of Fame. I mean, that's what we call it in
Chapter 11.
Christianese. Yes, it is. I told you, Hebrews 11. Look at me with Bible references. That's usually Tim's department. But
You gotta
I'm
roll
like,
tonight, sister. You gotta
I'm
roll.
like, I know, it's the oil.
Spikenard I just put on.
It's the spikenard and the Holy Spirit. Anyway.
Strong up in here.
It is. There's so many smells happening. I've got my favorite candle going. We got thieves going.
Cinderella lattes.
We got Cinderella lattes.
Spikenard.
Yep. Anyway, it goes through like each like Bible hero and By faith, it says by faith this, by faith this, by faith this, by faith Abraham did this, by faith Sarah did this. Anyway,
Noah,
Joseph,
Isaac.
yes,
That's it.
Boom.
If you Google it, there's really weird pictures associated with all of them. That's what I was just looking at. It kind of creeped me out.
Anyway, what I'm saying is that I believe that Tasha would be in the book,
Oh, absolutely.
in the Faith Hall of Fame. Yeah, they're all going to give her
Wow.
great high fives as she walks into heaven. They're going to be like, there she is. There's my girl.
Love you. Wow.
Noah's going to be like, I told you, girl, you got it. And
Sarah's going to be like, same girl.
same. She's just going to be like, same.
Squad goals.
Same. Exactly. Oh my
I
gosh.
expect that shirt for Halloween, Christy.
Seriously. Oh my gosh.
I felt like that's what she was telling me last night as I put the bassinet up in my room.
Yes.
She's like, that's right. That's right. That's
Go,
right.
girl, go. I feel you, sister. I feel you. Wow.
Now, I mean, she did laugh when when somebody first said that she was going to have a baby.
I told my husband he was crazy. We weren't going down that road again.
Twice. I mean, Sarah's just up there going, same girl. Same.
I got you back.
Hashtag same.
Hashtag same.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, I just want to jump in because I don't want to take up any more time with me talking. But Tasha, we just want to know about you and want you to tell everybody who you are and what God's doing,
Oh, man.
what God has done.
So, I'm T-Rex Tasha.
Yes.
For those of you that swim with me, that's my nickname at school.
Yes.
I'm a swim teacher, and that's what they call me because if you know me, yeah, it's kind of self-explanatory.
Do your arms come up barely out of the
All
water?
I'm
like
thinking right now is
Like-
Meet the Robinsons. I've
Yes.
got a big head and little arms.
So I'm Tasha, and married to Matt, daughter Vaden, 11, sassiest little girl you've ever met in your life. She keeps me on my toes.
She's just like her mama.
All right. I mean, you know, they say you pay for your raising. I'm like, Mom, I was not that sassy, and she's like, she begs to differ, but you know, we'll go back some. So I don't know. I mean, what do you want to know? I love Jesus, and I love my sexy husband, and I have a sassy daughter, and got
Sounds
some
like a country
cows.
song.
And it is. I mean, got some cows in the backyard, and like to sit on the front porch and watch them. And
I
I
love
mean,
Jesus. I love my sexy husband.
Christy's writing her new #1 hit over there as we
Yes.
speak.
Squad goals, y'all.
I expect some royalties off that.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, I mean, my life's just been I literally was just telling the girls, like, I would say for the last 13 years, just a roller coaster ride of faith for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Just, I feel like 13 years ago, my whole life changed, and I had a choice, and that which road are you going to take? And God said, let's go here. And I was like, what? I literally packed up my car with everything I own and jumped on this crazy train, and I've been on it ever since.
Okay. Well, tell us about that train. What does it look like? What is in it?
I mean, 13 years ago.
So when it pulls up at my station, I
Yeah.
will know.
Trust me, you'll know. It'll be the big, blingy, flashing lights. This
That's crazy.
train.
Crazy
That
train,
is
all aboard.
my life. I mean, 13 years ago, I was broke, homeless, got a divorce, had been with him since my senior in high school, so for like 8 years. It was insane, and it just all came to a screeching halt literally on New Year's Day. And packed up my stuff and left and went home to my mom's house, and hadn't been there for 8 years, and I thought, I can't stay in this little tiny town. I got to get out. What am I going to do? And I packed up my car with my TV and my clothes, and that's all I had, and I put my couch. I took the love seat. Like, that's literally all I took. We had just bought a new couch, but we had to literally take the window out of the house to get the couch in. Oh, no. So I couldn't figure out how to get it out. So I
Like,
left,
I can't do this by myself.
so I left a little love seat, and yeah.
A love seat strapped to your back.
True story. I put that in storage, so I left with my TV and my clothes and my car, and I drove to Bedford, Texas, to stay with my best friend from high school. And y'all, I didn't know how to, it was before iPhones, and I didn't even know how to get anywhere. I got lost in our tiny little town. My mom used to always make fun of me. Thank God she gave me a Garmin. Y'all remember those that you had to like stick in your rearview mirror so I could get anywhere. It was awful. I was broke. I had no money. I had no job. I had just got a divorce. I thought my life was over. I was like going to be married once, and it was going to be a fairy tale and be married forever. I was going to have kids and the white picket fence, and I was going to live happily ever after. And that all came to a screeching halt. So I became a Blanche. I packed up, moved to Bedford, Texas, and I decided I was going to just go crazy and go wild, and I was going to sow all my wild oats that I never got to sow. And then Jesus just said, what? I don't think so, and brought this amazing lady into my life, and she brought me to church with her. It was actually my best friend's sister, and I remember her giving me a prayer journal, and I had never journaled my prayers before. I'd known Jesus, but I don't think I'd ever really had a relationship like this before, like I do now. And she gave me a prayer journal, and so I started still being this crazy wild person, but I started going to church with her, and I started to build this relationship with Jesus I'd never had before. And so I remember writing all my prayers in this journal, and one of the first prayers I wrote was about my future husband, because he promised me that he was going to give me this amazing husband. Down to every detail. I have this journal. I can still go back and look. And if you read it, it describes Matt to a T, and it's the craziest thing ever. So write down your prayers, because it's pretty cool to go back and like
Write down your prayers and you'll get a
them.
sexy husband.
Yeah, true story. All you single girls. True story. Listen to me. It's true. But no, really. So, and then I started going to church, and God just started to really wreck my world. And I started to have this relationship that I'd never had before, and came to know him in a new way that I'd never known him before. So I got on my feet, was homesick, so I moved back home, got a job, got my own place. I'd never lived on my own, ever. Went straight from my mom's house to living with my ex-husband, and so that was kind of crazy. And I met Matt right before I moved back home. I actually was out dancing, and I saw him, y'all, like an angel, at the top of the stairs. Cowboy hat, vest, beard, and I tripped over a bar stool because I was walking backwards staring at him. And, oh my gosh, I about died. And we started talking, and we literally fell in love that night and hit it off, and we've been together ever since. He proposed on Easter with an Easter egg. Took me by a wedding ring the next day. This was we met in February. He proposed on Easter, and we got married in June.
Boom.
Super fast, when
There's someone else at this table that did that.
when God says go, you just go. I mean, and here we are 12 years later. We celebrated 12 years in June. So in the course of that 12 years, we have been through more than anybody should ever endure, probably. It is only by the grace of God that we are still married, still madly in love, and even like the sight of each other, and have not killed each other or gotten a divorce.
We all know that Tasha really likes the side of Matt.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. So we got married, and you get married, and you think that you're gonna have this fairy tale, and you think it's gonna be so easy, and you have it all planned out, right? And so we got married, and we did buy the house with the white picket fence. Like, for real, we have this cute little farmhouse, has a white picket fence, and
Dream.
so then you think, like, you're going to get married, and you're going to make love, and you're going to have babies, and it's going to be so easy. And that didn't happen. And so years and years, 3 years in, and still no babies, and still no answers to why. God literally dropped our daughter off on our front steps. If you've heard my testimony before, I'm serious. He literally dropped our baby off on our front steps. She was about 1.5 years old, and she came to us in a crazy God way. Long story short, she came to stay with her great aunt and uncle, and they knew I had a home daycare, so they called and said, "Hey, you want to babysit our niece?" And I said, "Sure." And needless to say, a couple months later, she was ours, and we went and picked her up from Elgin, Texas, on a whim and a step of faith.
That's
and
insane.
9
So
years
good.
later,
Yeah.
she's driving me crazy every day, I mean, I don't know. You can go back and listen to my full story. It takes a while to tell, but I've shared my testimony publicly, and it's just amazing to see literally what God has done. We have an amazing relationship with her biological family, and they love us like their own, and my daughter gets to still be a part of that and see that, and I think it's definitely shaped her and her testimony, and I don't know, you have this dream of what your life's going to look like. And sometimes God's like, oh, but let me show you. My plans are so much better. And it's true. I mean, it's by no means has it been easy. The 9 years, like I said, have been some of the hardest things we've ever walked through. And I mean, your parents think you're crazy when you call them and it's like, oh, you know that cute little girl we've been keeping? Well, we're going to adopt her. What? She's not up for adoption. Yeah, we know. God told me we're going to adopt her. So that's how it happened, literally. So we had this cute little girl, and it's funny because I told people she called Matt Dad. And I would look at her and I'd say, you must really look like her biological father or something. And she did it like a couple of times. And now looking back, I'm like, she knew. She knew before we even knew. And so June 3rd, a couple of weeks, about a week and a half before, June 3rd of 2010. So we had this little girl. We'd had her since February, watching her every day. And God told me, you're going to adopt this little girl. And I'm like, what? She's not even up for adoption. Like, are you sure? So that mommy place, like, you know, if you've ever tried to have kids and not been able to conceive, or if you've struggled with infertility in any way, or even if you haven't, you just have that. I think a lot of women have that longing to be a mom, and I just want to be a mom so bad. So I didn't want to be in my flesh, of course, like this is a huge thing. So I told God what he was going to do, you know, because that's what we do. When I want something, I said, God, listen here.
Those are
buddy.
my favorite stories
Listen.
when they start with, I told God. He's like, yeah, okay.
I said, God, listen here. I mean, this is crazy. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to tell my husband, and he's going to tell me, and I am going to zip it. Keep my mouth shut. I'm not going to say a thing. So please be fast. So I can keep my promise. And you're going to tell Matt. He's going to tell me, that's how I know I am not crazy. This is not in my flesh. This is a crazy thing from you. And we're going to roll with it, right? Mm-hmm. And so for 3 days, I prayed like I have never prayed before. We are driving down Precinct Road. My husband looks at me, turns down the radio in his truck and says, we're supposed to adopt Vaden. And I just lost it. And I looked at him and I said, I know. God told me. He goes, I know. He was waiting on me to tell you. And I'm like, why? Why did you wait so long?
That's amazing.
And I was like, well, okay, but what do we do now? She's not really, like, we don't know anything. We don't know her. We don't know her parents. We don't know her grandparents. Do we even really know the whole story? And he's like, I don't know. Let's pray about it. God said it, so it's going to happen. So let's pray about it. I said, okay. She was set to leave in a few days. Her grandparents were almost done building their house, and she was going to go back to live with them, etc. And God said, write a letter. I said, oh, okay. So I wrote a letter to strangers telling them I want to adopt your granddaughter who's not really up for adoption, but, you know, maybe if you change your mind and something happens. Will you call me first, please? Because I'd really like first choice, because I think God told me I'm going to be her mom, and I want to adopt her.
You straight up said, I think God told me that I'm supposed to be her mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I sure did.
Wow.
I said, God said we're supposed to adopt her.
That's so bold.
I still have the letter. She has a copy of the letter. I have a copy of the letter. It's crazy. So anyways, what's really crazy is
put it in her baby book.
We send her off. She leaves on my birthday, Wednesday, June 3rd, 2010, and she leaves. And we called our parents, and we called our best friends, and we said, hey, we're going to adopt Vaden. And she leaves in a couple of days, and we don't know when she's coming back. We think probably like September. I don't know why September. Maybe I do, because God told me tomorrow something big's going to happen. So, you know, but this was 9 years ago, and I thought they'll keep her for the summer, and then they'll call us, and like this is all going to happen like when school starts. I know. We'll get into that. I don't know.
What?
I know. I just thought about that as I'm literally talking. So we send her off on June 3rd, 2010. And we leave for a cruise. We're literally flying to Florida like 2 days after she leaves. We never met the grandparents at this point. We send her off with the uncle.
Oh,
She
that's
leaves.
right.
Yeah.
This is not, Uncle is the one that dropped her off.
So
it
like
wasn't
she was
even
living.
grandparents.
No. We had never even met the grandparents at this
Goodness.
point. Yeah. I mean, you know,
I forget that part.
because Tasha's
all the time.
crazy. And so we send this letter with her, and we send her off, and we literally were so bold. And we told our family probably thought we were absolutely insane. We're like, we're going to adopt this girl. Oh, she's up for adoption? Like, what? No, we just trust me. Just God's going to do this really cool thing, and just sit back and watch. But we don't know when she's coming back. But hey, you have a new granddaughter. Like, aren't you excited? And they're like, what? So that's what happened. So we're like, okay, we're going on a cruise. We'd been married for 3 years at this point and hadn't been on a honeymoon. So we were going on this honeymoon with like 30 of our amazing friends from South Carolina.
Little did you know it was
Who
a
we'd never
baby
met.
moon.
Who we'd never met.
Yeah.
We went on a cruise with 30 people from South Carolina who we'd never met. So we drove to Florida to go with some
Feel like
Facebook
that's a
friends.
Whole nother story that
we
we are
went-
not getting. We're
that
getting
we went on a
bits
cruise
and
with.
I know.
pieces, crumbs.
So it's like crazy. Yeah, so we drive to Florida, we get on a cruise ship, and we go on our honeymoon 3 years late. Yeah, like you said, we had no idea we were fixing to become instant parents.
Your baby moon. It was a
And
baby moon.
So, you know, we're like in the middle of the ocean on our first big trip together. Phones are off. We are oblivious to anything that's happening back home. We're having the time of our lives. It's great. And we get off the cruise ship on Friday. And I turn on my phone. We get in our rental car and I plug my phone in. I turn it on and it blows up. Like I literally thought it was just going to fry because it could not quit dinging fast enough. Like it was emails, text messages, phone calls, missed calls, voicemails. People were freaking out at home and we were like, what is going on back home? Well, they called and wanted to know why these crazy people that wrote them a letter wanting to adopt their granddaughter had went and just ghosted them for a week. Because the poor uncle, who was the only one that told us anything or had any contact with us, he went to jail over the weekend.
No.
So nobody knew anything. Nobody knew where we were. Nobody knew who we were, what we were talking about, why we wrote this letter saying we wanted to adopt their grandchild. Were we psychos? What? Nobody knew. So I remember calling Paige. Oh, precious Paige. I remember calling her, the grandma, Friday night, and we talked for like 3 hours in the hotel that night in Florida. We flew home on Saturday, talked to her again Saturday, talked to her again Sunday. And by Monday, I remember saying something along the lines of, tell us when you're ready and we'll come get her. And she said, well, how about today? And I said, we're on our way. And I called Matt and I said, get home. We're going to pick up our daughter. And we called our best friends and they came over and they literally came to the rescue. And we got in the car and drove 4 hours and we came home with our daughter. And she's been with us for 9 years. It's been I know that sounds crazy. I know. Y'all are like sitting on that listening going, what? Yeah, I get it. It sounds insane.
That's how it works. So I just pick the kid that I want.
They drop her
Write
off
a
on
letter.
Yeah, write a letter. Has to be really convincing. And then you go on a cruise.
Right.
And you come back and you become
And when you
instant
come
parents.
home, they say yes to your letter.
Don't
Okay.
forget to tell God something.
Oh, yeah. Tell God how he's going to do it, right?
Right.
And then you become instant parents of a 2-year-old if you choose. I mean, you can pick any age, really, but 2 seem to be really fun. Because, I mean, who doesn't want to become first-time instant parents to a 2-year-old?
Right.
It was the sweetest thing, guys. Like, I can't explain it. I remember driving that road, and they live out in the middle of nowhere, and I remember turning down that dirt road and like all the butterflies in your stomach, and I'm like, what are we doing? We have lost.
You're like, wait.
Okay, so I've never been in physical labor, but I can feel for y'all. Like y'all have to give me some credit here because I was like in labor.
You're like,
we're
wait,
driving-
I'm about to push a watermelon through what?
We're driving down the dirt road and my heart's racing and I'm looking at Matt going, what are we just drove 4 hours. It's dark. We're walking into strangers' houses and we're going to try and take this baby home with us. Like, is that what we're fixing to do? Because I'm not really sure here. I still remember the pajamas she had on and these cute little turquoise and pink flower footed pajamas. And they walked out the front door with her and she leapt into my arms. And I remember walking into the firing squad. Like, I mean, it was crazy. And we left a few hours later and we drove home and she was so peaceful. And they put her in our pickup and she literally just went right to sleep. It was like she just knew. Like, she was so at peace. And we brought her home. And she slept with us that night. And we wake up the next morning and she was like so happy. And I still have the pictures and I can remember it so vividly. And she was like climbing over Matt's leg and she said, help me down, Daddy. And I lost it. And I was like, what just happened? It took her about 3 days. She called me Mommy. And yeah, here we are 9 years later. She's 11 years old now. We have an amazing relationship with her biological family. Mm-hmm. We have an amazing relationship with her biological mother. Yeah, it's been incredible. It's definitely been faith testing. It has tried every patience I have as a mother, as a person, as a Christian. It has been hard as heck, putting it nicely. We've come close to divorce. We've come close to thinking, can we just give her back? Because this isn't going to work. Like at times, I don't mean that, but you know what I mean? Like there are those times where like, I don't even know what to do because this is so hard. Man, but looking back 9 years later and now looking, where we are and what we've been through, it is just incredible. And I just know that she has a call on her life, and God is going to use every piece of her testimony, and every piece of the hard that she's been through, to change others' lives, because it's been amazing.
Oh, every time I hear that story, I tell you what,
It's crazy. Like it sounds like a fiction novel, right?
It's like a Hallmark movie.
I do love Hallmark movies.
oh, me too. Same.
The only thing that would make it better is if it was like at Christmas time. Like, can we change our storyline?
right.
I mean, that's the only thing that would make it better.
September is a thing.
I know, right? Yeah.
If you wrote a script, though, and put it at Christmas time, they would make it into a movie.
We should totally do that.
Hallmark.
I'm going to write a book one day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, duh. Okay.
Well, there's this lady at PCC, like, and it makes me laugh because, like, she was our guest speaker today. Totally off topic. And I've never thought about writing a book. People say that all the time. I'm like, what? Nobody cares. Like, whatever. And the day she was talking, and I was like, you know what? I could seriously write a book about my crazy life because y'all are just getting a little snippet because we could be here for hours. But this is insane. Like, what we have been through is completely insane. And you haven't even heard the half of it. Like, it's.
I know. You just said snippet.
Yeah. Did I say snippet? I also say memes.
I know. She
Yeah.
doesn't know how to say memes, you
I
guys.
say memes. They make fun of me at work all the time. But
Yeah,
that's
but
just,
then we all call them memes.
and warsh. I say warsh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my mom says warsh.
Yeah. So you've only heard a little snippet of it, but I mean,
Okay, but
it's
in
crazy.
the midst of this all of this going on in this past 9 years, you've straight up started a ministry.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, what are we 9 years in? So, golly, how many years ago? 5 years ago?
I don't know.
How long has I been around, guys? 5 years. Yeah. Oh, 2 years. So yeah. So 5 years ago, I'm talking about some more crazy stuff. God's really funny. Y'all know he thinks he has a sense of humor or something. I don't know why he thinks.
He made us. He definitely has a sense of humor.
Right? So, yeah. So I am started with another crazy dream. 5 years ago, I was in a clubhouse at our housing edition, and it was an international night of prayer that we were hosting for If you've ever followed or listened to Jenny Allen and her ministry, If, it's absolutely amazing. It's what literally set my soul on fire about 8 years ago for Jesus, and has just literally been just the pathway and what paved all of this. And I remember we were hosting an If night of prayer, and we put ourselves out there and we invited people, and we had 40 people show up. Most of them I didn't know. Some of them drove hours to be there. And we were worshiping, and I was Shanda was actually leading worship, and I was standing at the back of the room, and there were all these women just in the dark and by the literally light of the moon and candlelight, and these women were worshiping their hearts out and praising the Lord. And I was just like, oh, this is amazing. And I was like, Lord, I want to do this. Like, I want to bring women together and do this. And he's like, oh, this is just the beginning. And I was like, what? And so I began to dream with him about this vision I had of just gathering women. And there was literally women. We had girls that drove from Stephenville, from Charlton that night that I'd never met except on Facebook. This girl, and she brought 3 of her friends. There was 4 of them that came. And we literally had a woman who was like almost 80. I think she was 78. So we literally had like from 18 to almost 80. And that was this vision that God gave me, as I was going to gather these women of every age, every background, every religion, you name it, just this cluster of different women. And we were going to gather, and we were going to get really real with each other, and we were going to take the mask off and break down the walls that so easily divide us as women, that we put ourselves in these cliques and we divide ourselves. And I wanted to break all that down. So I began to dream. And that night it all started. And so for 3 years, I dreamed over and over and over. And I just continued to dream with God about this crazy vision he'd given me. And I thought it was just a dream. And I didn't really think ever actually that it would be any more than this dream. And then one night I was hosting a If table and I had a bunch of local girls, and it was supposed to be like a 2-hour meeting, and we were like 4 hours in and nobody wanted to leave. And we're all just sitting around the table talking, and I looked at them. I was like, I just got to share this crazy dream God gave me like 3 years ago with y'all. And I was like, I don't know why, but I just got to share it. So I shared it, and they all just started crying, and they were looking at me and goes, let's do it. And I was like, let's do what? I just want to tell you my dream. Like, I don't want to do anything. And they were like, no, like, let's, like, that, we need that. Like, this is so needed in our community and in our, like, we need this as women. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's great. Well, you want to do it? Because I'm not doing it. And I remember, like, going to bed that night, and God's like, you're going to do this. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not. And I was like, can't we just dream a little bit longer? Like, we've been dreaming for like 3 years. God, that's a long time.
Didn't you give me that dream so I could tell someone else to do it?
Yeah. I was like, I told them, like, they're really equipped. Like, there's a lot of really good women in that group. Like, Lord, somebody can run with this and it'll be really good. And I'll do whatever you need me to do to help them. Like, it'll be great. But not me, Lord. And this was Sunday night. So Monday morning I got up and I was like, you ever fought with God, like, internally when he tells you to do something to the point where you physically make yourself ill?
It's the
Yes.
wrestle.
Girl,
It's the wrestle.
I wrestled all day to the point I seriously got sick to my stomach. And I remember going home that night and I was like, so sick. And I went to bed at like 7:30. I told my husband, I was like, I'm so sick. I gotta go to bed. I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't do this. I'm exhausted. I'm getting sick. And God's like, would you just listen to me? I'm like, nope, God, you got the wrong girl. I remember kept telling him that all day. God, you got the wrong girl. Like, I dreamed it up. I'm good at dreaming. I am not so good at the doing part. Like, can we just keep dreaming? So I went to bed Monday night, sick. I woke up Tuesday, ready to run a marathon. Y'all can't even run a 5K. I was like, let's do this, Lord. Let's do this. You said do it. I'm all in. And like, I don't know what it was, but I woke up with a whole shift. And I remember walking into work, and I was actually nannying for Katrina Kid at the moment. And I walked in and I was like, you remember that crazy thing I told you about? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, let's do it. She's like, okay. And I was like, no, really, like, God told me we're going to do it. We got to do it. And she's like, okay, I'm in. Let's do it. And I was like, okay. And that was like at 8 o'clock in the morning. Well, before 8 o'clock. And I was like, okay. And by noon, we had literally had the whole conference planned.
Wow.
And I was like, I know these speakers. Like, God told me exactly who's going to speak last night. And I'm going to call Erica Willis. And I'm going to call Megan Lacefield. And they're supposed to speak. And these other people. And I was like, they don't even know me who I am. But God said to ask them. So I'm going to ask them. We don't have any money. And I don't know where we're going to have it. But we're going to do this thing. And she's like, okay. I was like, maybe like 75 people. We can do it at the clubhouse where we have all this other stuff. I reached out to them and they all said yes. And I was like, oh, what do we do now? I was kind of expecting them to be like, no, crazy lady. Sorry about your bad luck, but no. Well, then they all said yes. And everybody was so excited. And then I didn't know why they were so excited because we didn't even know what we were doing. So everybody just got really excited. So we grew out of our first venue literally by the end of that day.
Wow.
Because so many people jumped on board and they were like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so amazing. And so we start planning this thing. And within 6 weeks, we had this whole huge conference. And we'd outgrew our venue not once but twice. We had to change our venue literally 8 days before.
Wow.
Because it just kept growing. And God said from the very beginning that IM would be a free thing, that we would never charge for any of the conferences we did, and we would never charge for just anything we did, that it would be free, and that women from every religion and every ethnic background and I can't even say that word.
Socioeconomic.
Yeah, that word, Amanda.
Gotcha. I got you.
Background and
Katrina
mom
actually
or
used to
not
say-
mom or whatever you were, you could come and you could literally just take the mask off and get real and just do real life together. And so that was my vision. And it was supposed to be free because I remember at a point in time where even gas money would have kept me from getting to a conference like that, let alone, ticket prices and hotels and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, Lord, I don't know how we're going to do this because it costs money to do something like this, but we're going to trust you and we're going to put this conference on. And he said 300 people. I said, what? Okay. And so I remember coming home and I was like, honey, I'm going to do that thing. And he's like, oh yeah? I was like, okay. And he was so supportive. And I was like, you don't want to like tell me no? Because like that'd be really cool right now. And I could just be like, God, Matt said no. He's the spiritual head of our household. So I got to lay off for a little bit. And he was so supportive. And him and Vaden just jumped in and they were like, what do you need?
Wow.
Along with everybody else. And so he said, I remember Megan Lacefield asking me, so what are you going to call it? Like, what is this thing called? And I was like, oh, I got to have a name? I don't know. Let me get back to you on that because I don't know. I'm going home and I'm like scrolling through Pinterest and I was like, I am. And Matt looks at me from the recliner and he goes, you are what? And I was like, I am. And he's like, I am what? I was like, that's the name of our ministry. And he's like, oh, that's great. And he goes back to watching football. And I was like, that's it. And it was the picture of the lady with the crown on and she's kneeling down and it says I am and it's all the I am statements.
Yeah.
And God said, you're going to show people who they are in me. And if a woman knows who they are in Christ and what their I am statements are and what I say about them, and if they know how to truly believe that, live that, walk that, it will change every aspect of their lives. It'll change the way they talk, the way they live, the way they parent, the wife they are, the sister in Christ they are. It'll change everything about them. So that's what we did. So we figured it all out as we went, and we said, okay, people, we're going to have this awesome thing. We don't really know what we're doing, but you want to come along for the ride? And so we figured out some ticket thing, and it was crazy, and 300 tickets were gone in 30 minutes.
Wow.
And I remember calling the ticket guy. Y'all, this is the funniest thing ever. I stand in my office and somebody calls me. So, like, they go live and I'm like, me and Katrina had talked that day and we're like, well, we think we'll probably give away 300 tickets, but it'll probably take like another 2 or 3 weeks, like right before the conference. Maybe they'll all be gone. And so I go home that day and tickets go live. We set the link live. I go sit on the back porch with my family. My phone starts blowing up and somebody goes, there's only like 64 tickets left. And I was like, crap, I messed up the ticket site. I broke it. Great. Now people are going to be so mad. What are we going to do? So I go inside and I like call the guy and he's like so nice at Brown Paper Tickets. And I was like, excuse me, sir, but I think there's a problem and your website must be broken. We just did this thing like 15 minutes ago and we had 300 tickets and it's only saying we have 64 now. So something's wrong. Can you fix it, please? Or tell me what's going on? And he goes, yeah. That's not right. And I was like, oh, I told you it's broke. Y'all done messed up my ticket sales. Like, what the heck? And he goes, yeah, you have 14 left.
Wow.
I said, what? And I just dropped to the floor and I started bawling and crying and shaking. And my husband and my daughter are like doing a happy dance around the office. And I'm just like, I don't even know what's happening right now. And then two weeks later, we had this conference and we packed a church with almost 300 women. And we had salvations and we had baptisms and we literally formed a tribe that day. And here we are, 2.5 years later. We have had 3 conferences completely free that people have just donated from the bottom of their hearts and given so generously and abundantly. We actually just had our first retreat where we took 9 women to this beautiful lake house in Granbury. Completely paid for, and they spent the weekend just being poured into and loved on and just treated like royalty. And we had some amazing speakers come in and pour into them for the whole weekend. And that's been a dream of mine since the beginning too. Something for women. God handpicked these 9 women, and we call it the tribe, the I Am Tribe. And so my thing's always been is I wanted what you girls have together for other women and what I have with my tribe for other women. And that was so important to me. And that's what this retreat was all about. And I actually didn't even get to go to my own retreat. I've prayed about this retreat for years and I actually didn't get to go, but maybe I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute.
Yes, you will.
So I didn't even get to go to my own retreat. But man, I get to sit back now and watch these women and they have built this incredible, amazing tribe. And the bond that they all have now is so incredibly amazing. One of our girls had an emergency surgery the Monday after the retreat, and 2 of our other girls were there at the hospital with her. Another one was watching her kids. We all brought her food for a week and a half, and just to see this bond that these women built and to have women in your life that truly have your back and that will let you have your pity party for 5 minutes, but then say, you know what, straighten your crown, because that is not who you are, and remind you who you are and who your daddy is. And it's just so incredible. And I get to see that all over. And I get to see women who I only know on Facebook, or people from literally states away, especially in this new season and journey we're going through. I've got to see that I didn't even know people were following us or what they even knew about us, but that our faith has inspired or encouraged them in some way. And just all the lives that this crazy faith journey has touched other people is just incredible. It literally blows my mind.
Yeah.
I'm blown away.
That's so good. And it's not even the craziest faith part of this whole thing, honestly.
I mean, what would be the crazy part? That I have a new diaper bag hanging from my closet door? A really cute one at that. I mean, or a bassinet in my room? And no, I'm not pregnant, guys. I've gotten that question a lot last week.
She is not pregnant.
Maybe spiritually, but not physically.
Do you need that
That's
t-shirt?
just all the hot Cheetos I eat at work.
Do you need that t-shirt?
Do you need that t-shirt for Halloween too? Not pregnant. This is a hot Cheeto belly.
Hot Cheeto belly. Yeah. True story.
Okay. So, what promise are we standing on today in your life?
Well, so
What's the craziest thing God told you to do today? No.
okay, well, I mean,
Or
today
this week.
put up a bassinet.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Yeah, so 2 years ago, two years ago in June, we unexpectedly lost my father-in-law. It was a really hard time. I'll let your mind wander, but when we got the call, we were like,
They were indisposed.
yeah, we were like having some fun. And it's like 11 o'clock at night and our phone starts ringing. I'm like, why are people calling us this late? We are busy people. We're trying to make babies here. Come on, people. And God promised me a son. I got to help him with that promise.
I have to do my part.
I'm not married. Golly. Not the Virgin Mary, okay? Yeah, and so, we hit silent and keep having fun, and the phone keeps ringing. So finally we answer it, and it was a call that forever changed our lives, in all seriousness. My father-in-law had actually contracted salmonella and was very, very sick, along with my niece, who was very young at the time. I believe she was about 2 at the time. 2. And they both got very, very sick. Well, he kept putting off going to the hospital, went to the hospital. They're like, you have salmonella also. And it brought up some underlying conditions that he had. And he was doing good. And we were going to go see him that weekend. I believe this was like a Thursday night. We were headed out. My husband was headed out the next day. Me and Baden headed out shortly after. And we got the call that he had coded. And he was in Abilene Hospital. And my husband's like, I got to go. And I stayed there with Baden. And he gets in the truck and starts hauling butt to Abilene. And 3 minutes. If you have not noticed, 3 is a very, very significant number in our whole faith journey. It's crazy.
So is the month of June and the month of September.
I know, right? 3. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Threes. So 3 minutes. My husband will tell you 3 minutes before he got the call. Now, let me preface this with, if you don't know me or my husband personally, we are polar opposites when it comes to expressing our faith. He is like Amanda was talking about earlier, like Tim's the scripture man. Like, that's Matt. He's very quiet, very soft-spoken until you get to know him, very a matter of fact. I'm pretty crazy out there. I will share everything. I hold nothing back. So if I tell you God gave me a vision, I mean, like, that's not crazy. Like, I say that all the time. Now, if Matt tells you God gave him a vision, you better stop what you're doing, give him your attention, and you better write it down, because he's being serious. And you're not going to hear that very often from him, if ever again.
Same with Tim.
And he said about 3 minutes before they called me to tell me my dad had passed, God gave me a vision that we were conceiving one life as he was taking another. Well, if y'all remember, we were having some fun when we got the call.
Yeah.
And so that was not out of the realm of like normal, right? So I got all excited. I was like, we just got pregnant. And oh my God, your dad just died and this is awful, but he's going to take your dad to heaven and he's going to give us a son. This is so cool. Well, here we are. It's been almost 2.5 years and I'm not pregnant. So I was like, Lord, what? I've waited a long time. And, so remember Vaden's adopted. You know, we drove 4 hours and picked her up from strangers. So her biological mom, I'm just going to lay it all out here. Her biological mom called us and told us that she was pregnant. And it was hard. And I was like, whew. And we had some serious conversations. And I was like, well, of course you are. Thanks, God. That is so fair, you know? And my sister got pregnant with a boy. And I mean, oh man, all these people around us. And I was genuinely so happy for them. And so I was so excited for my daughter's biological mom. And I had prayed so hard for her. And we found out she was having a boy. And I'm not going to lie, that was a hard phone call. And some prayer warriors around us had told us, like from the beginning, that this boy was going to have a significant part in our life. And some very unfortunate things happened, and he was actually taken away. CPS had to get involved, and so they came in the picture. But now my daughter has a brother that God has promised her for a very long time. And I don't know how this story ends, but I know that I feel like God's kind of laid 2 paths out there for us. And either way, I get to be a huge part of this little boy's life. And I'm just super excited. And he is the most precious little boy ever. My daughter gets to be a big sister now. We have already got to see him and spend some quality time with him. His mom is getting the help that she needs to get better, and we're believing for a miracle there. But God has also showed us that if that doesn't happen and she makes some different choices, that this little boy will be ours and we will raise him just like Vaden. But he's also showed us that miracles can happen, and they happen every day. So if she chooses to take that path and to get better and to do the really hard work that she needs to do, that we'll step in the interim, and we will love this boy just like he's ours. And if she gets better, then he'll go back with her. And either way, I see a lot of healing that needs to happen in our family. We're all stepping out in really big faith, including them. And our beautiful daughter, who is, oh man, y'all, I can't imagine being 11 and being in her shoes, but she has handled this with such grace and such patience and just grace upon grace upon grace. And it's just amazing. You know, it's a crazy thing, and we're so blessed and honored to be a part of it. And whether this is the little boy that God promised us that comes and lives with us forever, as ours completely, or whether he's the little boy that steps in and we're like his godparents. And if he goes back home to live with his biological mom and dad, that's amazing too. And he will always forever be ours as well. We'll
Either
share him.
way, he wins.
Yeah, he wins.
And
We
so does
all
Vaden.
win. We
Yeah.
all win. So no matter what happens, you know, God gives us free will. He's a gentleman, and he is not going to. We have to do the hard work ourselves, and we have to step out in faith ourselves. And so God just told us to step out there and prepare. We believe we know what's going to happen, and so we're just stepping out in faith. So yeah. So I have a
So you have
bassinet
a
next to my bed.
Bassinet, new
Yeah.
diaper bag.
Yeah. And I don't know what it looks like, but I know God promised me a son, and I know God told me to prepare. So I've been preparing in the craziest of ways, and just preparing our hearts and preparing our families. And we just know that God's going to do a big, crazy thing. And he told us, we've had some amazing prayer warriors and people that have just partnered with us and prayed with us. And one of them, God gave them the day, September 26th. Last February of 2018, he said September 26th. And there's a bunch of other dates. He gave us his dad's birthday. She didn't even know that his dad had passed. She didn't know anything about him. She didn't know his dad's last name. I'm telling you, when you have people that sow into your life and pray for you guys, it is such a blessing. This lady would send me these random dreams that God would give her, and I'm like, how did you know that? I mean, she wasn't even a good friend of mine, so it's not something I had spoke about publicly. She had no idea. She sent me things that had Matt's dad's middle name and Matt's middle name, down to when she had this dream one night, God showed her to the thing that Matt's dad used to wear, these light stonewash jeans, And I had to send her a picture of Matt's dad and them, his middle name, James. I mean, all these crazy things. So regardless of what happens, this just may be a pit stop in the road of the plan God has for us. I'm not really sure. But either way, we know that God has prepared a way and that he's bringing us a son, and it might be more than one. I don't know. I don't really know what that looks like. So we're just stepping out in faith and believing and trusting him and putting it like we're just all in. So people think we're absolutely insane.
You're building an ark.
And that's okay.
Right.
That's okay.
She's building an ark and she's waiting for rain, and it's
Yeah.
going to happen.
It's going to be a
It's
flood.
going to happen. It's going to be a flood. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible.
I mean, talk about a yes and, right?
Right?
I mean, the timing of this podcast is perfect because we have been talking about a yes, telling the Lord yes, and then saying, and what do you want me to do next?
Have your way. Yes, Lord. Yeah.
And that have your way is what has kind of resonated in me listening to everything that you've said tonight. Everything, all three of the stories are have your way. Like you've said yes and then left it open for him to just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't put parameters on it.
Right.
Well,
Right.
you tried. You tried, but he didn't
mean-
let you.
And I think that's what faith's all about is, I have been told so many times, if you've listened to our story, 3 years back, we had a falling out with the grandparents and the enemy. And they'll tell you it was the enemy. We know the enemy's job is to steal, kill, and destroy, and he's really good at his job. And they let him in, and it was not good, and it caused a lot of division. And we ended up back in court, and we went through hell. But man, grace upon grace upon grace. And God took all that the enemy meant for harm and to try and destroy our family and to try and tear us apart. And he took all that and he used it for his glory and our good. And we are stronger and better, and we have more faith now than ever, and probably more love between us and the biological family. I mean, they're literally like our extra set of parents and our extra grandma. It's a beautiful thing. And I have a relationship with the biological mom, and she's like my sister. I want the best for her. I love her. We talk very openly, very freely. It's an amazing thing. And people don't understand it. And I think that's what scares people is they don't understand it. And I think that's what scares people about faith. I know that's what scared me for so long is because I didn't understand it. And if I couldn't put God in a box and make sure that he was going to do A, B, and C, then I didn't want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And that was scary because I'm a planner. I say, God, give me a timeline. And, like those ones you used to have to make in school. And I need you to tell me on such and such day that such and such is going to happen. And then you're going to do this and you're going to do that. And it's going to be just picture perfect. And that's not what God says.
Yeah.
And I believe that God just wants you to say yes and then be like, whatever you have for me. And people have said, I just don't understand how you walk through this, especially 3 years ago when we literally walked through one of the hardest things we've ever walked through. How do you come to work every day? How do you get up every day with a smile on your face and be like, good morning? That's what Katrina would always say to me. And she's like, you're walking through a living, breathing hell right now. How are you so happy? How do you come to work with smile on your face and in such a good mood and continue to do it? And it's only God. And so I tell Vaden all the time, you have a choice. You have had a really rough life at 11, and you have been through more than any 11-year-old should have to go through, and you've had to grow up entirely too fast. But guess what? You have a choice. And you have a choice to say, God, I trust you and I love you, and there's no reason for me to walk around having a pity party because what is it going to fix? What is it going to matter? And if I choose joy, then I win and the devil loses. And I give God that freedom to move. And so people think I'm a little too honest and I'm a little too raw and I'm a little too real sometimes. But I truly believe that is what has brought so many people along this faith journey with us because we don't hide it. Like we lay it all out there. Yesterday was really, really tough. I had a very emotional day yesterday. I went home and just cried and put a baby bassinet together and cried some more and ate some M&Ms in bed. And I questioned a lot of what I felt like God has told me over the last 2 years. And here comes my tribe, my sweet, sweet, amazing tribe, just constantly reminding me what God promised, and God's not a liar, And I just have to stand in faith, because why would I stand anywhere else?
You know, I think another huge faith step that you do is the fact that you don't choose isolation.
Right.
You let people in when you need prayer.
Mm-hmm.
You send out messages. You're like, hey, this is the truth. This is what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
my
just
message
need some
yesterday
prayer.
was, can I just be honest? I'm really struggling today. I've cried most of the day, and I just need some help. And I just need someone to tell me I'm stupid and to snap out
And
of it.
did you get a flood?
Yes.
Yes,
and I
you
love
did.
that I have friends that don't go, oh, I'm so sorry. You're right. Life is so tough. You have every right to stay in your pity party. No. I have friends that say, no, ma'am. You get back up and you tell the enemy where to go, and you scream it at the top of your lungs if you have to.
I'm like, kick him in the face, Tasha.
Yeah. And those were messages that I got time after time, because I would do the same for my friends. I'm like, oh, no. It's not, no. Mm-mm. You tell that devil where to go. Go back to the pits of hell where he belongs, because ain't nobody got time for that. You remember what God promised you? But then it's so beautiful, because I had friends who didn't even know what the other friend was saying. Friends from completely different circles, all coming and giving me confirmation of the same things. And that's when you just know it's God. It was all about activating your faith yesterday, is what I heard from multiple friends, completely different ways, and activate your faith. And so for me, activating my faith looked like putting up a baby bassinet for when this baby comes to stay with us for whatever amount of time. And whether that's we're interim or full-time or whatever that looks like, or whether we miraculously get pregnant or whatever this looks like, God said, activate your faith. So for me, that's what it looked like. And people were like, do you have a baby? Like, I'm kind of confused. Congratulations. Did I miss the news? No, you didn't miss anything. Like, God's still working on that part. He just said, activate your faith. And so for me, that was the word that multiple friends gave me. You're saying for me last night, that's what it looked like, was washing baby blankets, activating my faith, putting together a bassinet, and saying, God, you know what? I have no idea what you're doing, but I trust you.
And I'm just thankful for these M&Ms.
And I'm so glad that I got my bag from the retreat today, because Robin and Stacy hooked me up with some M&Ms, and I'm just going to lay here and cry, watch The Good Doctor, and eat my M&Ms.
I mean, those are good choices.
Those are good choices.
I mean, let's just be honest. I had a really hard day yesterday. And so I think I blame social media. And so I try really, really hard to be just as real on social media as I am with my very close, intimate
Amen.
tribe. Because I don't want ever someone to think that they look at my faith or they look at my walk and think that it's something that's not obtainable, or that if you have those moments like I had yesterday, that your faith is less than, or that you're doing something wrong, or what's wrong with me. I can't hold it together. Like Tasha, y'all don't always hold it together. I have many moments where I scream at my kid, or I'm like, we're not going to make it to 12. She's only 11. And we're not going to get out the door today. How am I going to go to work and not have a meltdown and cry today because I don't understand what God's doing? So I have those times, but I think it's so important that when you have those times, you say, not today, Satan. And you don't, I say 5 minutes. You get 5 minutes. You have a pity party. You get 5 minutes, and then pick yourself up, dust yourself off, remind yourself.
Straighten that crown.
Yeah, straighten your crown and remind yourself. It's so important to be in the Word. Remind the enemy, because that's his job. And so you just have to combat it with the promises of God. And I just say, you know what? I don't care what you think. I don't care how crazy I look.
No.
Yeah.
I don't. Obedience equals breakthrough. And if God told me to do something, no matter how crazy it looks, I'm going to do it.
Now to him who is able to do exceedingly above anything that you could ever hope or imagine.
Yes. I mean, people think I'm crazy, but wait till they're holding my new baby boy in their hands. Mm-hmm.
No kidding. No kidding. Mm-hmm. Seriously. I'm sorry. I'm not on the mic. Tim's going to hate that.
I mean, it's crazy till it happens, right? So I've been listening to this. If y'all have not listened to that Michael Todd sermon series, he's did 6 of these series of Elevation Church. It's like in Oklahoma or something. Y'all, he's crazy, incredible good. He's one of my new favorites. He did this whole series on crazy faith, and that's what he talked about was what's accounted for as crazy in one season will be accounted for as faith in the other.
Yes.
So, I mean, I just go back and forth. I always got a crazy part going on, but then here comes the faith part, and then I get another crazy part, and the faith part will come later. And, it's okay. I've just learned I've always been too much for people, so it's kind of okay. And I just like add that extra realm in because, I mean, I'm loud and I'm bold and I'm crazy. And so that just kind of, God just uses that in a good way.
Okay. All right. I'm going to just rebut on that one. You are not too much. I get that some people may not.
I'm just saying it makes it easy. Like,
You may not, I know, but you may not be people's cup of tea.
You think I'm too much? Okay, let's go here.
But no. You were talking
you
to
can't
another
hold my
person.
cute baby boy if I'm too much.
Yeah,
Just
no.
get on your bad self.
Yeah. I mean, I have always thought that I was too much also, but the Lord is telling me, he's like, Amanda, did I make a mistake?
No.
Did I overpour? No.
Did I overpour your cup?
I mean,
And he's like,
no.
people just have different tastes and they
That's
just
right.
don't know. They
That's
don't
right.
know.
They
just don't know.
It's fine. It's fine. It's all fine.
I mean, it's just exactly what Christy was talking about. I mean, your belt of truth. You've got to have that word.
Yeah.
Because you guys, let me tell you, I know I've talked about this before, but the belt in that Roman army, like armor, not army, in that armor that they're talking about and they're referencing in the Bible, if you didn't have your belt on, your armor was going to fall off.
Right.
Amen.
Yeah. And there's a reason that is what the belt is the truth.
Yes.
Because he could have made it anything else. It could have been the helmet of truth. But it's not. It's the belt of truth because it holds it all together.
Yep.
And if you miss that piece, your pants are falling down, your breastplate is coming off, your bra straps are gone, and
Your
you
bathing
are
suit's up around your head.
Yes, you don't want your bathing suit up around your head. No.
The storm's just a brewing. You're in the middle of the battlefield going, what?
Absolutely.
I need my belt back.
So get yourself in the word and start proclaiming that truth.
Yes.
You've got to,
Yes.
because God said it, the end.
The end. Like, what more do you need?
Yes, we're in a season.
We get in this microwave, so social media, we're a microwave society. So everybody wants it like bam, bam, bam. Like I want it right now. If God said it, then it needs to happen right now. And so I'm willing to look crazy. I've looked crazy for 12 years saying God's going to give me a kid. Well, he did in the most crazy unconventional way. And I believe he's going to give me another.
Right.
And it could be in the other most crazy, most unconventional way. And it might not be. Who knows? But all
And
I know
his
is that
timeline is infinite.
yes. And so that was something I was praying about the other day. Like, Lord, I need you to move like now.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, oh, honey, you're seeing things in your fleshly eyes, in your
Right.
fleshly, worldly timeline. And remember, I'm here forever and for eternity. And things are moving so fast in your mind. But for me, it's been seconds. The weeks that you're feeling and experience have literally been seconds in my timeline.
Right.
And so when you bring that all back to perspective, and I believe, it's not easy. Sometimes I know for you guys, it's the same. When you're struggling with something and you're walking through something, there are literally days where you have to remind yourself and you're literally rebuking the enemy every minute, like over and over and over. And it's like a constant thing. And there's those days where you're like, oh, I'm good. Like you get up and you're feeling good and you're ready to go to battle and you got your belt on, you got your helmet on, you got your sword, you're ready to go to battle. And things don't touch you and you don't have those moments. Like it's not wavering that day. But there's other times where it's wavering and it's hard. And it's never that you're necessarily moved from that in the promise that you believe, but the enemy tries a little bit harder and you're in a little bit rockier waters or a little bit deeper valley that day. And so you just have to remember, what are you going to do to get through that? Are you going to let it overtake you? Are you going to choose joy? You have a choice to make. And I believe isolation, like you said, I believe that's one of the things is you could easily crawl in your bed and pull the covers over your head and eat M&Ms and choose not to reach out to anybody and to let
And
the
if
enemy.
Satan gets you alone,
Yes.
he can defeat you.
Yes. And that's what he wants.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's always been being very vocal about it and just being very open, which is sometimes scary because I've asked myself multiple times, like, Lord, like we're all in. There's no turning back.
The bassinets together.
The bassinet is beside my bed.
And people know about it.
I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping with baby blankets. Like there's a problem. No, 2 years ago when Matt's dad passed away, about 2 weeks after Matt gave God that vision, I remember being in Walmart and I saw these cute little sleepers and the Lord said, buy those. And I was like, oh, no. And he said, put them in your basket. Take them home. I said, okay, Lord. So I bought these 2 little sleepers. Oh, excuse me, 4 sleepers. And I put them in my closet.
There was a sale that day.
And I put them in my closet. And when Matt would be gone, sometimes during the week, I would sleep with them. And I would cry over them. And I would plead the word of God over them. And I would pray over them. And I would bless them. And I'd hang them back up in my closet. And I'd take them out and I'd smell them. And I'd sleep with them. And I'd pray over them. And I would say our baby's name that we named. Because, like, we already have this name picked out. And, like, all these weird things, right? And, yeah. So, it's crazy. I get it. But God showed me the other day when I was driving to work, because I like to talk to God and be like, Lord, what are you doing? And I said, I'm crazy. You have me sleeping with baby clothes. I've slept with a baby blanket all week, praying over it for this kid that I'm not even sure who, what, when, where, how. And I said, I'm going to look like a crazy person if none of this comes to pass. Like, they are going to put me in the certifiable mental hospital, like,
They're going to take
white
my
padded
shoes away,
room.
Lord.
I'm not going to get to teach swim lessons anymore. They're going to, they're just going to leave me, God. I'm going to be in a white padded cell with a straight jacket, because this is crazy.
And a baby blanket.
And a baby blanket. So that's how I felt the other day. And the Lord said, I have not brought you this far to leave you, but this is not about you. I said, excuse me? Yes, it is. Don't you remember you told me I'm going to be a mom again? You're going to give me a son? How is that not about me, Lord? How? I'm a little confused. Can you clarify? And he said, I want you to look around, and I want you to look at all the people who are praying for you and warring for you, and all the messages you get. Text, calls, emails, Facebook messages, Instagram messages. All the people who have said that your faith has inspired them, and they are watching your journey and watching how you walk out this crazy faith. It's about them. And when it happens, and when your miracle comes to pass, and through the process of the process, you see the promise of God come to fruition, all these people are going to come to know me in a different way. Some of them maybe for the first time ever. And it's about those people that you will affect because of your obedience and the way you've activated your faith. And I was like, oh, okay. It's not about me. You're so right, Lord.
For so many people, your story and the way that you're walking this out is the cloud the size of a hand in the sky. I mean, it is. I'll be straight up honest. This is something that I don't tell anyone because it sounds certifiable. Before we were pregnant with Josh, I made a Facebook profile for my daughter, name and all, because I didn't want anybody to have it. I wanted her to be able to have her own Facebook. It was so stupid. She has an Instagram account too, but nobody knows about it.
Well, they do now.
But yeah, I get it.
What's accounted for in crazy in one season will be accounted for as faith in the next.
Yeah. Well,
you thought it was crazy you were going to go to Africa not very long ago, too.
I know, but that was a lot easier to believe than this. It's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Yeah.
I know. I have a baby bassinet next to my bed now.
Yeah.
Maybe you should get one. Do you want to borrow mine? I have some extra baby blankets.
I still have all of Josh's stuff.
Pull one out, Amanda. Pull one out. Activate your face, sister.
I'll tell you what, the day that I packed up most of my favorite clothes and gave them to Christy for her baby was a really hard day. It felt like a death. I know that sounds crazy.
No, I get it.
But I was like, nope, I'm not going to have a boy. I'm going to have a girl. But then I was like, but if I don't, at least Carson will have these really precious clothes and I can see them on him again. And I love seeing his clothes on Carson. It's like they're having a new life.
So I think you just have to like put yourself out there and just say, God, I trust you.
Yeah.
Have your way. Because I mean, do we really want it any other way?
No.
I mean,
if you are looking for a tribe, please reach out. Reach out to us. Go check out the I Am Tribe on Facebook. We'll post a link. We all love you and we all want to be praying for you and we want to be able to connect with you. And if you need someone to connect with us.
Yeah, we want to hear your crazy yes and.
Yeah.
What are you believing for? We want to hear it. We want to stand in agreement with you.
Amen.
We want to be
do.
a part of your crazy face season.
Yes.
So when it happens, we can be like, yeah,
You can come
We
on.
were there.
You can come on the podcast and talk about it.
Yeah.
We were believing with you through all that. Look what God did.
Get on that crazy train of faith.
Come on, ride the train and ride it.
Oh my gosh.
Get on
Oh
the
my
crazy train.
I'm
And
here.
ride
I'm
it.
listening to Ozzy Osbourne in my
Oh
head.
my God.
I'm crazy train, but you're in a totally different,
I am.
totally different.
Their
Oh my
trains have
gosh.
collided, run off the track.
They have. They have. Okay, you guys. Follow us on. I'm going to see if I can do this. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Send Help Podcast. Go to our website, thesendhelppodcast.com. Subscribe to the newsletter. Subscribe to our podcast so that you get updated every time that we update. You'll get your awesome newsletter. And please tell us what you're praying for. We want to know. Thank you so much, Tasha, for being here. We
Thank
love
you for having me, guys.
It was a
Sorry,
huge
I talked
Great.
so
It
long.
was amazing.
Tim will have to edit all that out.
It's a super honor, and we will give you an update when with a picture of her sweet baby boy
In the bassinet next to my bed
in the bassinet.
with the blankets I've been sleeping with.
There you go. It's gonna be perfect because it's gonna smell like you.
Right.
Anyway,
My poor husband.
No, I know. All
They
of
put
our
up with
poor
so
husbands.
much.
They
They
do. They
We're
really
so
do.
blessed. So blessed.
Well, we thank your husband and your precious daughter for allowing you to come and spend this evening that is way over time with us.
Thank y'all for having me. I feel so special and humble and honored.
Aw.
You guys are the best.
You're the best.
Love y'all so much.
Love you.
Oh my goodness. Okay, guys, we love you. We thank you so much for tuning in, and share, post, blog. You do it. Whatever needs to happen.
Tag all your friends.
Tag 'em.
Share your tribe.
Yes. Amen.
Make it happen.
Do it.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
We love you.